So I understand that. Go ahead.
So if we were to do it tonight, though, are we able to give more than the $5,000? Are we able to give $10,000? I think that's what I heard possibly.
So right now, there are no stipulations.
Very good.
Exactly.
That's what I need.
Exactly.
GCRA staff is asking you all tonight to adopt a policy.
Okay, very good.
So we can adopt this policy and move forward and still give them money tonight without a policy.
Yes, this is the, in the meanwhile, so where the advisory board said Fifth Avenue, Pleasant Street, we're in that same window. This just happened to coincide on the same night. And so until this, whatever recommendation from the Community Partnership Grant Program, when that goes from whatever the recommendation is, it would go to commission, that's still another 30 days. So it should not affect any decisions tonight. There's never been a stipulation at this time on how much that could be granted, and each person, just like it would have been before, was kind of in the meanwhile, can ask of the board just like anybody has ever asked of the board. So there is no parameters around it. So I hope that's helpful. So that's why the guests that asked to speak to the board we had first, because this will not impact those decisions at this time.
All right.
Is there a matching requirement right now?
There's no requirements whatsoever at this time.
Yeah, I mean.
Go ahead.
All right. So
I understand, but we done told you, we just changed for you to go, so we won't let you go.
if you want to change back.
I don't think.
Yeah. We got it.
We know this.
It shouldn't take.
Explain it first.
But I'm not. You didn't ask me such. Who do you ask?
So this shouldn't take very long because you've seen the majority of this program previously. But good evening. Once again, my name is Daniel Blumberg. We're here with the GCRA. So the CRA and now the GCRA has for years supported with funding local community events within our districts. City Commission approved the GCRA 10-year reinvestment plan, which included the Community Partnership Grant Program, and noted that it needed to have the program formalized. Previously, people would ask for assistance with the events, but the CRA, GCRA had no formal plan in place for applications to be submitted and approved. The proposed Community Partnership Grants Program will provide more opportunities, transparency, and a process for applicants to follow. The programs can work as well in conjunction with the RPA's SEAS program within the GCRA boundary, where SEAS provides funding for in-kind services, and the Community Partnership Grants Program providing funding for components that the SEAS program cannot assist with. So, next slide, please. We have made a number of updates to the program since we first brought the program to you for your review and input at the March 15th 2022 board meeting. The major updates per the board's recommendation include the rollover funds from one application window to the next if they're not spent, a simplification in the qualification methodology, and if approved, the application will also function as the agreement document, and adding in a component allowing for minor corrections to the program to be approved by the city manager instead of having to go back to city commission. Example of a minor correction would be if there was a notice typo, if a minor corrections to that. If there was any major changes, for example, changing the dollar amounts potentially being awarded, that would still require city commission's approval to be able to do that. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the SEAS grant that this can work in conjunction with. That's through PRCA Parks and Recreation, Cultural Affairs, and the Special Event Supports grant program. It opened for applications on March 1st. The application window is October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. Depending funding use, the grant may be reopened mid-year for additional applications. So the in-kind services that it can assist with are safety, traffic services, parks personnel, waste cleanup. So that's what the PRCA program can assist with. It can only assist with 501c3 organizations though. So it is limited specifically to those organizations. Next slide, please. So hopefully, it looks a little covered up on the side, but there is a proposed event budget, which you can see on the right side. So the applicants would be filling this out, and it is good news, it's legible for you. So you can see that they would be filling in their budget. They would be going down the list, personnel, administrative services, artistic, and then all the way down the list. In the center, sort of at a Zoom window, is a slightly grayed in section. And that's representative of the PRCA grant potential, because then that will apply to other fees grant for those categories as well. If they needed additional funding for that, they could still put that in for the proposed program here also, in case they were going to receive that. Next slide, please. So this is just a really brief comparison between the proposed community partnership grant program and the SEAS grant. You can see that the area, the community partnership grant program can only assist within our GCRA districts. SEAS grant is pretty wide. The program offerings as listed in the program itself for the community partnership grant is up to $5,000 per application. The SEAS grant is the in-kind support services, as I went through earlier. The application for the community partnership grants twice a year. Currently, the SEAS grants is once per year, the possibility of twice per year. And the program funding of the course of 1 year, one full cycle, the community partnership grant would be $20,000, $10,000 per application window every 6 months. The SEAS grant is currently up to $44,000 annually. Leslie Ladendorf is here if anyone has any specific questions later on for the SEAS grants. Next slide, please. So for next steps, the PCRA will look at matching the community partnership grant program's application timetable, having 2 applications windows per year. The GCRA is still working on a special events economic development program to assist special events within the GCRA district. These events could potentially include special concerts, or sporting events as examples, and will allow for nonprofits events to apply. Next slide, please. So a recommendation to the board is to hear the presentation and provide a recommendation to advance the proposed program as presented to City Commission for review and approval.
Would you be open to doing sort of a kind of a thought exercise with some of these folks that would be potentially coming up, just so we can see how this might work in actual practice? Because I'm a little confused on if we have some of the 501c3s come forward, whether or not we're pulling funds from where funds are coming from.
So the 501c3s are going to be nonprofits.
Yeah.
So they would still be able to apply for both the PRCA program for their in-kind services, as well as the community partnership grant program. They could apply for both programs to assist.
Okay, and just for clarity, the SEAS program is only for in-kind services?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I have a question. So what about the for-profit agencies that are? Yes, we have them. Are they for profit?
So right now, for-profit, because the community partnership grant program is not in place currently, and it cannot be in place until after its approval, and then City Commission recommends its approval. So the for-profit entities that are here are going to be giving you a presentation and asking you to assist with their funding. As I mentioned, we are working on an economic development program to assist with for-profit events like the concert, but that program is not ready to be. It's still in a very preliminary draft form at this point. So that program is not in existence right now with the GCRA, but the board can make a recommendation prior to that program being put in place as proposed for.
So you're saying we can give them funds They can still get funding.
That is,
We choose.
if the board makes the recommendation.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to be clear.
So the PCRA and the Cities grant, they're both coming out of the $42,000 community.
The Seas grant has its own source of funding through the Parks, Recreational, Cultural Affairs. David, could you go back just a couple slides on the presentation? To that slide right there. So the Seas grant has its own pool of funding for $44,000 annually for the in-kind services, and that's citywide.
Yes, that was my conflict when you started saying citywide, and I just wanted to be clear, like, okay, the money that you're sending is starting, but since it has its own source.
Who is deciding C's grant? Are we making direct, this is approved down the road? We're making recommendations that people should be getting C's grant funds?
It would not be us. So I'll let Leslie speak to that.
Hi, Assistant Director for Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, Leslie Ladendorf. Thank you. C's grant is an application process that we already have and has been around for quite some time, and that goes through the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs department. So Cultural Affairs in particularly is the one who runs that program, and they get the applications in. It opened in March, closed on May 2nd. So those applications are in review right now for this coming fiscal year, October 1 to September. So the event has to occur in there. So that group is the one that decides how that funding is dispersed.
Okay.
It's just another program in the city that kind of works in conjunction with events. It might be in the GCRA district.
Okay. Can this board, I don't know if this is within the scope of this grant program, but if we see a grant that we're like, not sure what we think about it, but think that in-kind services through the C's grant might be more applicable for what they want, and we make a recommendation. Is it, would that carry any weight if it came to you guys that said, hey, we think that would be valuable, going through that program would make more sense for them?
I think because of us, the idea of us syncing up our applications, they would have to apply to both at the same time.
Okay.
So it would be in the same cycles. So they could potentially get funding from both.
Member Blunt.
And with the C's, the provision of C's services could be considered as part of their in-kind match.
No, the in-kind match would be if they have, let's say they have someone performing volunteer hours, or someone's donating in-kind services. There is actually a section in the application that talks about just that. It's on page 2 and 3. So it's actually. Yes.
Okay, looking at some of those, okay, on section 2. Requirements. It said for profit events are not eligible for the program, but does that mean when you're at the first place? Not eligible.
See, this program here starts,
When it starts.
when it starts, it won't be, they won't be eligible.
And on page 2, the same section that you were just on, just a little bit further down, it's selected the second bulletin up on the food from the bottom. They selected applicant must match award dollar for dollar, and other grant funding sources are not allowed to be used to match. Details of this information will be required to be supplied to the GCR and the community grant program budget form. Allowable matches are cash, volunteer hours at $25 an hour, or donated or in-kind services with the receipt from the donor.
I have a question, just trying to wrap my head around this whole thing. So we've been giving out these grants without this formal program. Or if I made it. Question is, how much money are we typically given in a calendar year? And how that $42,000 that we're talking about is there, is it going to be replenished? Is there additional money that's going to come into that? And then also with respect to historically, did we do for-profits? Did we fund some for-profits under this program? So those are my questions.
So to answer your try to answer your questions in order. The first question was about the existing funding. And generally, we've been given for years now to the Fifth Avenue Pleasant Street Festival, $2,000, and then this $2,500, and this last year was $3,000. Historically gotten a lot of requests for money for programs like this, for these small dollar amount for community partnership assistance requests. We have been working towards putting together this program, which is why we set aside money for it. Right now, the program is set up so that you can see, as currently written, it would have no more expenses than $20,000 over the course of a fiscal year. So $42,000 that's there right now, in theory, if it wasn't replenished, would be good for 2 years. In fiscal year 23, we have requested another $15,000 to go towards this program. So if you were to, as an example, to decide to recommend $15,000 worth of money to go to applicants today, people requesting funds, we would still have $42,000 as of right now. Going forward for this fiscal year and next fiscal year, we drew it down by, say, $15,000 this evening. That answer all of your questions? I think so.
In section 2, the fifth bullet, the applicant is encouraged to provide insurance documentation as part of the application. I'm not sure encouraged is the right word unless we're.
So the program does not currently require them to have insurance for this. So they might, as an example, somebody might come in and try to apply for a neighborhood barbecue for $100 worth of funding. So we did not require insurance to be on this program at this time.
No, I'm talking about the new program. It seems we would require, I mean, well, look at the current app. It's an event like Fest. Who knows what's going to happen? It's a lot of people, a lot of frenetic activity. If there's some accident or injury and we're part of the sponsorship, we want to know they have insurance.
So part of and I did run this program through legal prior to coming this evening. Part of the program under the acknowledgements signatures, the applicant agrees to indemnify dependent upon the city, its elected officials. Basically, it's just a boilerplate that they're agreeing that the city can do what permits.
The person dealing with the event.
That would be for whoever was actually flying for the events.
Just quickly add, if they are applying for the C's grant, they do have to have the insurance, but also if they're doing anything in a city building or city space, so if they were doing insurance, they do things in Lake Plaza. So a lot of those events do carry insurance, the bigger ones anyway, have to because of other extenuating circumstances. So most of the time they do. More of them
For the community partnership grants program for a small number of people. Any of the events that the community partnership grant program is going to be providing funding for has to be open to the public. So they're supposed to be providing estimates for how many people are going to be in attendance on the application. In my mind, a small number of people, as few as 10, but there's no component in here that says you have to have 100 people at your events or 20 people at your event, because there's no way to guarantee how many people are going to show up for your event.
Would there be any provisions within this for, and I guess they can kind of do whatever, once they have the money, they can kind of do whatever they want with it, but you know, I think I'm taking your barbecue example, if for some reason we required somebody to have barbecue, you know, then to be covered under some form of insurance, usually even at a minimum, it's like $50 to just get your name put on, you know, whatever insurance person thing, just so that you don't get in trouble or whatever, you know, just sort of a name certificate. And if you're trying to hold a $500 barbecue, I think that would be the reason for the encouragement versus that. So if you wanted to hold something smaller, you might not have to spend so much on it for insurance purposes.
Member North.
We talked about last time that if, let's say it's $10,000 per cycle, but then on the first cycle, we're gonna award them $10,000, can you carry over to the second cycle?
That's what that's envisioned. So potentially, as an example, let's say you only had 3 applicants. One of them was looking for the full 5,000 and the other 2 were only looking for $1,000. So you have $7,000 being distributed out. That remaining $3,000 would be able to go over the next cycle. Because you have more people looking for more money that next cycle.
You had on the application process where people would kind of outline what they were spending on. Was that a way that was potential to kind of ascertain what they be spending this money on?
Yes.
Yes.
No question. All right. So you need a motion from us. So I like to entertain a motion with regards to the community.
Yeah, but I'll make a motion to, now that we've reviewed this, that this moves forward to the city commission as it stands. I think there's been a lot of work through this, and I think there's been a lot of thought on it, and I agree. I think we're on our way to something really interesting.
Okay, I second.
Been moved and properly second in the discussion.
Madam Chair, I still think we need to be more vigilant about the insurance. Vigilant about insurance.
So I heard what you said earlier. I don't disagree with you. I think what has happened though, Tommy, I think for this particular group, I don't think we're gonna get as many of the larger groups like the fest. The fest is here tonight, because we have no rules right now.
So we can city property, so they're gonna have to have.
Exactly, which means if they're gonna have to have it, I don't wanna put us in a situation where we're thinking about the fest, because I don't think it's unfair to think about the fest that way. And then you think about John's backyard barbecue, so I want to see where, because y'all can talk about barbecue. So you know what I'm saying, and you don't want to put, I don't want us to put smaller organizations in a bad situation, in a place, because insurance is expensive, and a lot of times. We do so twice a year, it's like 100. We have a special event, hours for one day, and we pay maybe $121.
It's not for $1 million.
But it's gonna be more than, we never insure for more than $1 million. The insurance is really not expensive, it's special. That. And that's what we kind of have.
Not for the events we're hearing today, but for the program.
No, but
extending forward.
yeah.
And especially in light of what you just said, I think we want to.
Any other comments? Member.
Now, typically on general liability types of insurance for corporations, it does tend to be rather expensive. However, I don't know, as a non-profit organization, just stepping into an insurance agency requesting only, especially the one policy, one day, without having insurance in general.
It's not required. I've done it for many years.
And we do a special event for one day. And we do $1 million, and it's like $100 and something. And I think you can even attach it to still be paid the city.
You have to list the city. You're correct, you have to list the city as additional insurer.
So it will be, it's not gonna be expensive.
Daniel, I thought I heard you say, that the legal department has reviewed this program, right? With the way it stands without the insurance, I heard you say some insurance.
Correct. So our legal team led by Sean McDermott has reviewed the program and went over and made any edits that he thought were necessary to that. He did not bring up any issue concerning the insurance. If the board decided that they'd like to have direction to that.
Okay, city is the biggest funding, and we are just, administering. If they say they fine with our insurance, I'm fine with it. Think that'll be between them and the state.
Just to be clear, there are two different, pools of money, but there's also two different administrations of the program.
That is correct.
Any other questions? Okay, we're going to vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now you're gonna go back and give away the money that don't have no rules on it right now. Our first person is Swarthy Gainesville. Do you have representative for these? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, about to move.
Not sure if you guys can hear me, but I am present.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Tadrika. I am the owner of Swarthy's Gainesville. I'm a resident of Gainesville. I always like to say I'm from Gainesville, but I was nourished in East Gainesville. I'm also a student at the University of Florida. I'm completing my last semester there, where in which I've been studying the family, youth, and community science with a specialization in general human development. And so I obviously have an interest in improving the quality of life for the residents, particularly in East Gainesville, where in which I created Swarthy's Gainesville to fulfill that sole purpose. And annually we have an event every year. We started last year. We're going to continue to do it every single year. Last year, we created a space for Black-owned businesses to basically thrive and expose what they're offering to their community. Also, we provided a space for culture as well as celebration. And so this year, every round goes higher, and we want to provide an even better experience for our community members. Last year, we were able to secure about 50 vendors as well as 20 sponsors. Of course, it's Florida, so it rained, where in which we lost half of our vendors, but it still was an amazing experience. And this year, we plan on offering our community not only a platform for Black-owned businesses, but also a space for celebration, utilizing a benefit concert. So with that, obviously, we need some support from our community to engage our community in this way. Where in which we're coming to you guys with that request of financial support. And so that's basically what we're here for. With our festival, we do plan on not only offering our community business owners a space, but we want to make sure that we present what we're trying to provide for our community as well. Swarthy's Gainesville is an establishing community grocery store, holistic sanctuary, whatever you want to look at it as, we are that. We do plan on offering our community food. We know East Gainesville is a food desert. We know that it has been deprived of a lot of resources. So we not only want to offer food, but we want to offer holistic alternatives such as chiropractor, acupuncture as well. We've also been engaged in the idea of yoga services. We do want to offer our community holistic alternatives, holistic resources. We've been, for the past year now, we've engaged a lot of entities in Gainesville surrounding this idea, surrounding this purpose and this mission. And so at our festival, not only do we want to offer celebration, stimulating the idea of Black economic circulation going on in East Gainesville, but we also want to offer our community exposure to this opportunity of life equality, life improvement. And so that's what we're here for. If you guys have any questions, I'm open to answering any questions. I recognize that Ms. Evelyn Fox is present. I just want to say hello. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm open to whatever you guys have to ask.
Member Blunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to find out if you have a venue and date arranged and the amount you're requesting.
If I may share the,
Yes, sir. So we do not have a event secure, I'm sorry, a venue space secured. Okay, there we are. We do not have any a venue facility secured quite yet. We are engaging the idea of all of the 7 friendships. Possibly we're utilizing, last year we did use the MLK, the road right in front of the MLK Northeast 14th Avenue for our event space. This year, we want to use that space. Obviously, that was a very fun space, but we also want to take advantage of a rain plan. And so we've been engaging the idea with UF Health. I'm sorry, not UF Health, but UF on utilizing the O'Connor Center for our concert, just to ensure we do not have a same situation as last year. So that is an option. Also, we would like to utilize the weekend of the UF and FSU game, which is also the weekend of Thanksgiving. A lot of young people will be in town for that weekend, and we want to really attract a generation of young people who have families, who are working, who are from Gainesville, who maybe come home for the holidays. We want to attract what we're doing and what our agenda is for East Gainesville, and obviously for the rest of Gainesville as well. What we're asking for is in-kind sponsorships. We're not really I don't really have an amount to present to the advisory board right now, but we are really engaging the idea of in-kind sponsorships. I do have a 2-year-old. I'm not sure what he's going to say right now, but he just popped up. So I'm just going to put my phone on mute. But if you guys have any questions, I am present.
I just wanted to clarify, are you a nonprofit 501c3, all of that stuff?
We're actually a for-profit business.
Oh, she answered my question. I was gonna ask, was there an amount that she was asking for, what she said, this in-kind service? Am I correct?
It's your sponsorship. These are sponsorship levels that you show.
What kind of sponsorship level are you looking for, Ms. Hedrick? Okay, she's got.
We're looking at the idea of level 2 for the GCRA with the community partnership sponsorship. However, obviously that can be an in-kind sponsorship as well, if that is something you guys are open to engaging with us.
So the date of the event is November?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Member Blunt.
If the O'Connell Center was the choice, are you asking the university to give you the use of that site, or do you know a fee involved there?
We're engaging the idea of utilizing that site as the in-kind sponsorship. However, we're open to possibly paying for the fees. We know that that can be expensive, which is why we are engaging the idea of sponsorships, quite such as the community partnership sponsorship, because obviously there may be a fee, and we're open to that, and so that's an option as well.
Anybody else?
Just a question, if we were doing in-kind services, what kind of services could we provide that would in-kind services? So what would be an example?
I didn't catch that last question. Is there any way you could repeat that?
I think it's probably here, but I will repeat it. I was interested in finding out if we were to do an in-kind services type of related sponsorship, what would that mean? Or if that would be part of our sponsorship, what is it that we could do?
We do have a budget expense list that we could provide the advisory board on some of the things that we would have to pay for, such as ways. Of course, utilizing the city, there's going to be a fee wherever we go. And so those in-kind sponsorships could be written off as a check to those certain entities that we will be utilizing their services or their event spaces. So we can always provide an expense budget list for you guys to simply just write a check to that entity pertaining to what we would need.
So, I'm sorry. Miss, what can I get? Henrika. Yes, ma'am. So, for me, I like what you're trying to do. I think y'all, I do remember y'all doing something before. I think my hesitancy would be, we don't know what a venue is. We're not, you're grappling with the date. There's nothing solidified for me that's already set in stone. I think it's a great idea though, but I would like, if this is just for me, my opinion, to come back once you kind of get some things more solidified. That's my only concern, because I haven't heard. It sounds like a great idea, but you don't know what's not gonna get no promise in it yet. You're trying to do on the 27th, you at home game. So right now, you need to, I would suggest you really get on it, because I'm sure all that's the venues and stuff gonna be booked and stuff for that particular date. The issue with the funding is not a big deal to me. It's just that for me, there's not enough things that are solidified for me to feel comfortable right now. And that's just my opinion. Number 5.
I completely understand that. As I mentioned, we've had several meetings with our city commissioners about the date as well as the space. We know that this is a big weekend in Gainesville, and so I am doing everything that I can to engage the idea of the commissioners meeting with us pertaining to this, to the event and the space that we want to use. However, it is a big weekend, and obviously there's been a lot of stuff going on in Gainesville for our city commissioners. But I'm completely open to coming back to the advisory board once I finally have a meeting with the commissioners pertaining to this event and that date as well. So I'm open to it, and I definitely understand what you're saying and where you're coming from with that.
Hendricks, I kind of agree with board member Sheeran. We need to have specifics. I don't think it'll be a problem with us funding your project, but you don't have any concrete dates or anything. And when you talk about the electronic center, that's $2,000 for now. Then maybe we need to get all of the logistical things worked out. And I'm sure, I know I would support your idea. I did attend the event last year, but we got strong. And there were a lot of people, and I think a lot of the city commissioners were there as well to support you. So I think it would be excellent. If you need to come up with a concrete thing, where it's going to be and what you are asking this board for. The fact that you want the CRA to write checks to different entities, that is not going to work, I don't think. So you probably need to ask for the funding once you do the budget and ask for a certain amount. But I don't think the city is going to be writing the check, like solid waste and all of those things. So you need to revamp the plan and come back perhaps next month and see if we could, there's no problem with funding. You just don't have your plan all together.
Before, Madam Chair, before she comes back, I think she should have conversations with staff about that date. I wasn't sure whether to say anything or not, but typically we don't have the resources to fund anything else on a home game weekend. Home game weekends take up all of the city services from police, fire, public works, and Department of Transportation. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but I would suggest that you at least have that conversation with Parks and Rec special event staff.
Completely understand.
I'm sorry, Member Mitchell.
Hedrika, I love your idea and I love what you're trying to do. I'd just like to highlight just a tidbit of one of the thoughts was talking about. We definitely would be interested in taking a look at the budget that you have for this, because I think it'll serve you well, and it'll also serve us in terms of knowing
where we can help you and how much we can help you. Because with the Arts Festival, I believe we requested the same thing to actually know what their budget was. Second thing, you might, I don't know, I guess maybe the purpose of selecting that date was a lot of traffic, but you're gonna probably have a lot of competing interests on that date that might dilute the participation in what you're trying to do. And so you may want to consider another date that wouldn't bring such a major conflict of interest in terms of getting people to your venue. The third thing, I was really interested in your steps moving forward. I noticed you had a $65,000 goal. How are you looking on moving forward with what you do with this event? What are your plans going forward?
I'm sorry, you asked, how do I intend on moving forward with this event, with that budget?
Yeah, 65,000 is your budget. I'm sure we're probably looking at coming away with something to move forward and move ahead, or is 65,000 your total budget?
Yes, sir. We're engaging, as I mentioned, we're engaging the 7 friendships pertaining to in-kind sponsorships. I'm not sure exactly how I heard Miss Evelyn Fox pertaining to the checks. I'm not sure exactly how in-kind sponsorships can go in Gainesville, far as the money being sent to the entities instead. But we are engaging the idea of in-kind sponsorships from the 7 friendships pertaining to the $65,000. And that $65,000, it includes the entire expenses for what we're trying to do pertaining to the O'Connell Center, the parks and recreation fees that we may have to pay for employees, for waste. All of that is included in the $65,000. And so we are engaging the 7 friendships pertaining to that that budget amount.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. My first question is really more of a suggestion. If you go back to the MLK Center and you secure the indoor space as a rain alternative, that might be a lot more manageable than the O'Connell Center. Could you tell us more about this benefit concert, or tell us about the one you did last year if you had the benefit concert the first time?
Last year, we did not have a benefit concert. We did the festival for free. We did not charge the vendors any fee for their registration, for their space. We really just wanted to provide a platform for Black-owned businesses to offer their services and their products to the community. Obviously, you can't make money like that, especially because this event that we're trying to do is a crowdfunding event to raise money for what we're trying to do with Swarthy East Gainesville. And so this year we are engaging the idea of a benefit concert. We have stimulated the interest of a recording artist from Florida. He's a Florida-based artist who is charting right now. His name is Rod Wave. He's a recording artist, and a lot of young people, a lot of people in Gainesville are very familiar with him. A lot of his music is very high vibrational, very enlightened music. And so we wanted to offer our community that exposure of celebration. There's a lot of negative things that are happening in East Gainesville, and we wanted to really offer our community celebration that is pure for family fun. And so with us stimulating his interest on social media platforms, obviously we wanted to invite him to our festival for that event. The MLK probably would not accommodate what we're trying to do. I know that it's a lot of people who would be interested in coming to a concert such as, and so which is why we're engaging either the Citizens Field space, or we're offering we're asking for the O'Connell Center.
And last question. I've heard of the 7 friends. Is that the same as the 7 friendships?
Yes, sir. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Friendship 7.
Friendship 7. That was it.
Friendship 7. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to, a motion of support to, or a motion of support to come back and review this again once there's a little bit more details. I think take the wisdom of the board.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. The staff will get with, staff will contact you. No.
Thank you guys so very much. I definitely will have everything together next time I meet with you guys pertaining to what we're doing, and hopefully we can move forward with it.
All right, thank you. All right. Next up, the fix.
Thanks. Everyone, my name is Tony Weinberger. I just want to thank the board for giving us the opportunity, and also thank many members in this room who have guided us down this way to be able to present to you. So thanks. I won't take up too much of your time. I know that I submitted some information, and basically I guess kind of want to give you an overview if you're not familiar with FEST, what we do, and some of the updated statistics on how this year is progressing. So the FEST, I'm a Gainesville resident. I moved here in 2000 from Virginia. I didn't move here to start the FEST, but a year later, I kind of was inspired to do so. I wanted FEST to always showcase Gainesville. I fell in love with Gainesville before I moved here, and I feel like we've done a great job. This being our 20-year anniversary, despite the year we took off for COVID. We really try to showcase downtown Gainesville, the arts of Gainesville, and all of our entities within Gainesville. We don't ask for sponsorships from major corporations. We only work with small independent venues, small independent businesses, either Gainesville or from all over the world. FEST has grown significantly. The very first time we did it, we had 5 venues, 40 bands, about 500 attendees. This year, as of 6/8, we have sold 2,957 passes. That's passes where people are coming staying here for all 3 days. They get to shoot out the pitch and go around to 18 different venues all over downtown Gainesville. Our main venue being our Joy downtown, Louisville Plaza. 95% of our passes sold are to non-Gainesville residents. That means we are bringing in 95% of these attendees are not from the city of Gainesville. So they're not going home to eat. They're not going home to sleep. We're simulating this economy and bringing stuff into Gainesville on a date, October 28th, 29th, 30th, which traditionally was a dead weekend. And every weekend, Georgia plays forward. And every weekend, everybody goes out of town. So we bring in thousands of people all over the way. We have the members that are in the bands that are performing, the wrestlers that are performing, comedians that are performing. Right now, we're talking 1,756 artists that are coming here to Houston. And 96% of those artists are not from the city of Gainesville. That's not the fact that we're not trying to showcase Gainesville. We showcase a lot of Gainesville artists. So that when we get it all and add it up together, we can't showcase that music that are coming from all over the world for this. We're also gonna, we also take individual ticket sales from other venues, including the Plaza. There's an opportunity to go localize people that come from out of town who really can't afford to spend 3 days. There's somebody that just says, you know what, I want to go to that one day. They only go to see the big bands that go there. We have 10% of the capacity of each one of those venues, but pretty single ticket sale. So that will equal up to about 5,000 additional single ticket sales at a smaller price range. That's more affordable for people that want to have a smaller experience. We also have several venues with Gainesville that operate as free open air. Or that food park, we partner with Google downtown. We partner with and provisions downtown. We can have live music, acoustic or low key performers from all they will play for free. That stimulates all that, attention, all that's happening. And also gives an opportunity for somebody to go there. I didn't have the night of Joe for 3 days of that. Well, I might not even want to. I might be walking around downtown. They go to some across the city and you get. That way it's free over the wages. It's like everything costs, you know, and they're giving to support the workers. You know, most people don't put off free deposits for the community as much as they can. And I wish that would be completely all free for the community, but the reason why I'm here is it's a lot of costs and expenses are expenses. So overall, for a total impact on Gainesville, if we add up these people that are going to be here for Fest weekend and say that they're going to stay here for 3 days, you're just the people that we can track. That comes to about 33,528 people that will be here for 3 days. So if you have a business in town, let's say it's a coffee shop, that's a potential that if everybody bought coffee at your coffee shop at least once, that's a whole lot of coffee. These numbers really do reflect how much of an economical impact this brings to Gainesville. And as you know, we are a for-profit business. But with COVID taking a whole year off, and then last year about a third of our attendees not being able to come because of COVID reasons, we took a significant loss for 2 years. And this year being our 20th year anniversary, we're really trying to want to showcase as much as we can. Right now, our participating venues are Bo Diddley Plaza. This is all the scholarships, so I have to go really far. This is all we have up here. Plaza is our main venue. We block off the streets with the help of the city, and we're able to make a 4,000 capacity all-year venue out of Bo Diddley Plaza. We were the first people to do that to that scale, and we kind of set the blueprint for other businesses and other events that want to do events at Bo Diddley Plaza. We also use a Vivid Music Hall, hardwood soundstage, so that outside area. That scale outside of hardwood. Woolly, Lucy's, the Hippodrome, 4th Ave Food Park, which I mentioned before, Boca Fiesta, Palomino, Vecinos, Downtown Fats, and I mentioned the patio and the bowl just signed on. We just started partnering with Hal Bazaar as well as the new others, which is called Mom's Green Jeans. So, and then there's also a lot of other businesses that don't actually notice code, but participate and feel that from taxi parlors to coffee shops to restaurants to the hotels. I mean, we directly partner with the Holiday Inn University, the Aloft, the Comfort Suite, and the Best Western. And so the direct us sending them business, they've already sold 1,428 room nights. And only the sales tax that goes on that, that tax also goes right back to the community. We also partner with the social impact. You know, it's not just about, it's always been about our community and about holding each other up. And we've had a great partnership with Grace Marketplace. $1 from every ticket sold goes directly to Grace Marketplace. And over the 3 years, we have raised $35,000 so far for Grace Marketplace. We are neutral. There's another company we offset with. We ask the attendees to offset their carbon footprint and they go to checkout. And we as well offset our carbon footprint. And last year we gave $1,196 of our own money just to offset the carbon footprint of all the venues downtown Gainesville. We're currently in talks with the United Way as well, and we've talked about maybe partnering and trying to get a local start. And the United Way is going to spearhead that. We're going to do a charity football game in the morning this Sunday. So those are ways we also try to generate some economic impact to our charitable organizations in town as well. But it comes down to our same expenses. That's why we're coming to the board to try to help offset some of these expenses. The mainly we're talking about is incomes, and that centers directly around Bo Diddley Plaza. We've got an estimate in for this year from the city from the different departments. Right now, it's about $900 for street closures and the parking signs. $2,640 estimated. There's that 2 EMTs on site at Bo Diddley Plaza during the concert. $13,300. There are 4 to 6 GP officers on the exterior part of the Bodie Plaza. We maintain inside, we've had a great relationship. Great relationship with the EMTs, and we've never had any type of problem ever that we've had to deal with them. And we want to keep that going as well with them. The actual rental of Bodie Plaza for the 3 days to do the event is paid out right around $6,500. We put all that up together so far, and the estimates, it's going to be $23,340 just to use Bodie Plaza. That is just the expenses charged by the city of Gainesville. Now, we have our own expenses. We have staffing. We handle our own trash and waste. We pick it up with the help of partners, and we rent lot 4 from the city. We put dumpsters there. Work with get a dumpster. We handle that. We did insurance, not only for Bodie Plaza, but we get insurance off on every single thing we do. We name them all. And not on all the woods, in 20 years, we've never had that. But when we look at it, it comes up to with all of our expenses, and this does not include towns. This is include the raw expenses of hosting the event. For 3 days at Bodie Plaza, it's just shy of $75,000. So when we do it up, 31% of those expenses are back into the city. That's what we're going to do. I know that the grant proposal that Bill just discussed, I think it's a wonderful grant proposal. I know that it doesn't apply to for-profit organizations. But what we're hoping is that maybe after today, we get a little bit better on that level of being able to help for-profit great economic impact to the city of Gainesville, and maybe you will consider us or like-minded events that will be coming. That will still happen this year. We're not able to get a grant from the assistance. Just that if we are able to get a grant and assistance, that money will trickle down. And the money will trickle down as we will able to keep our prices lower for the attendees to be able to go to these single show events. If they have to pay less money to go to an event, it's $10 cheaper per ticket. That $10 is directly going to be spent somewhere else, either at a business downtown, at a hotel, or directly into the hands of some of these touring artists that are traveling to our fine city to showcase this event. Another way we can also use that money that trickles down to be able to host and do more free events. If I do an event at the Bowl that's for free, and for that fruit park that's free, at Patio Provisions that's free, as much as they're making trying to help me out, I'm just paying for the artist minimum of $100 just to play for their set, to feed them, to give them a couple whole beers to drink. We're looking at $5,000 to host these free events as well. These are ways the money will sit down, that benefits not only fest, not only attendees, but it really benefits the community and all the downtown businesses together. And so our sponsorships, this is our sponsorship proposal, which we can pass out to y'all. This is what we give to everybody. This is a lot of the stats on last year, the kind of overall, these are all the stats from last year, not this year. This was our, probably one of our worst years last year because of COVID. But still, stats are great. That's sort of the tier. So we have a second tier and a third tier sponsorship, and we also have a top tier sponsorship. So these are some of the ways we can help out, some of the ways you can do it. We can also cater it more towards how the CRA would like to see itself do things. And we have Visit Gainesville, our top tier sponsor, they give us $20,000 every year. And they're on the top tier of all of our stuff, on the top tier of our guidebook. The big side banners at Bodie Plaza, as you can see here. They're up at the top with their logos. We make banners that go behind every stage. Their logos up there as well. And then a smaller sponsorship, like a second tier or third tier, you get more on the advertisements and things like that. Our website is one of the huge ways. People coming from all over the world. The first place they're on for months and months and months is our website. And here's some of our user stats from last year. So overall, we just want to take time to present to y'all. Really appreciate you hearing us out. And if anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer anything I can.
All right, who will go first? Ms. Mitchell, I'll let you go first.
What was your budget for last year outside of the extra stuff that you mentioned when you were kind of outlining?
So overall, to run this music festival,
Not the overall, but the step above, you gave two different budgets.
I was just specifically using the budget just to use Bo Diddley Plaza, because that really affects the downtown. It's like something. So right now, our estimated cost for this year to use Bo Diddley Plaza, just for street closure, parking signs, EMTs, GPD, and the rental of the park is $23,340. The same charges for Bo Diddley Plaza, what it was last year. It was not by much of that. I think the overall up this year so far is around the 5 to 10% mark, but pre-COVID from 2019. the budget went up 40%. In 2019, yes. Yeah, 2019, yes. I do give, because Fest always runs like, it was Fest 18 in 2019.
Yeah, I love this idea. I like what y'all done here. It's very creative and it's very much economic development. I was just wondering if you consider food trucks.
We do have 3 food trucks that set up in Bo Diddley Plaza during the weekend. And what we do is we offer them 2 options. They can either pay us $500 to set up for the whole weekend, or they can trade us out in meals. That's how we supply meals for a lot of the artists that perform. With 17 artists, 1,756 artists. If we had to feed them all under one craft, that would be awesome. Lucy's always been a partner of ours. Mothers, when Emiliano's was around, Emiliano's was a great partner. And it's food trucks. And so if you're a band performer playing out of town, you get them bill packs. And it's good for one meal to the drink. And it's like the band chooses which meal they're gonna go for. And they get to review their. Well, you get to bid too. Nobody wants to give away this. But when you're giving somebody who's been a band from out of town, it's a meal, they appreciate that. When somebody asks me, hey, where do we see? Oh, I ate over here at least the meal is great. They hook me up. You should come, or you and I have seen each other 10 years. We're just getting together fast. You look at over here. You say, hey, where are you gonna go? Let's catch up. So we watch. I don't want to watch.
My last thing is, it's not necessarily a question, but maybe a suggestion. That field next to Martin Luther King speech, a lot of open space, set up kickball, and there's a lot of people out there.
Spearhead that, and where we're going to direct it is we're going to try to get some of the band members to participate, and instead of people forming teams, it's like you can just pay $20 donation to play on a team.
Yeah, I was just saying that it has a it's probably doesn't facilitate how it's big and things.
Take that into consideration for sure. I just really don't know. I'm kind of letting them figure out which field they can get for free. You know? But I do love that area for sure.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was remiss to do this before we started discussing, but I just wanted to let everyone know that one of our members declaring the conflict of interest, Mr. Jacob Ivy, because one of his magnificent vocal bands is one of you.
Right.
So. Member Blount, then member Fox.
I have 4 questions. I think lot 4, where you do your dumpsters, is that on the west side of the federal courthouse?
Mine is northwest, but I think it's behind the federal courthouse. There's a kind of dumpster there that we don't use that I think is used for some of the restaurants. We bring in our own dumpsters. But yeah, it's pretty much a dead parking lot that weekend. We rent it out.
Yeah.
We've had a great success with doing that every year.
Have you received funding from CRA or GCR? Well, CRA back then. Have you gotten CRA funding before?
No, this is the first time we spoke for the board of CRA. It's the first time. We do get funding from Visit Gainesville every year.
The ticket prices in the past, were they similar to what the ticket prices are?
Yes, ticket prices increased from last year, I think, $5 or $10.
And whatever, the raffle, both inside ticketed venues or some of the food.
The flea market is a total thing. So everybody that comes to Fest, you get a ticket in the mail, you do a registration. We used to do it at the Holiday Inn. And then last year we were doing it partnering with another hotel, and the hotel contacted us, I think 2 or 3 weeks before, and said their ballroom was flooded. So we were lucky with our relationship we have with downtown businesses that the owners of the top suggested, hey, let's use the boxcar. And so we did the boxcar, which was perfect for COVID. It was all open air, and that is free event. Anybody can come and it's set up and all the vendors pay a modest. I think they pay $50 to $100 to set up, and they're vendors from all over the world, mostly clothing, records, labels, things of that nature. It gave us the boxcar and also got to showcase, our beautiful art downtown.
The raffle and the flea market.
The raffle is something that Grace Marketplace does on their own. I think it's on digital. So they put up, we try to get artists to submit things from merchandise packages to selling art, things like that. And then Grace takes all those items, puts it up as a raffle, people buy raffle tickets. All that money goes to Grace, and then Grace coordinates with the winner over there. And then Grace uses that area of registration, since everybody has to go through there, to walk around and speak to people directly about what Grace does, and able to be like, hey, while you're at it, do you want to throw $1 out?
Member Fox and Member Paul. Okay. For the out of town, and how much of people up to.
It's all the same. We do not give a local discount for ticketing, but we do offer this to local residents. Local residents can volunteer because it takes so much to run Fest in general. You can work a shift, and there's a variety of different things, from like sitting on the door at a venue to help checkers and at the plaza to like stage management, help us run. So they volunteer a shift from 6 to 8 hours. They get a free pass for all 3 days. And right now it's at $235.
So I guess it's 25. What was the ticket?
Right now, if somebody wanted to buy a ticket right now, it's $235. What we do is we do a tiered pricing system. So the first tickets that went up for sale in April were priced at $175. And every 500 that are sold, it goes up, I think, $5. And so makes it total. And buy, it was do it.
So you're paying for about 500
We have 3-day passes that we sell. We cap that at 3,500. And it's low, but the reason why is because if we add in all the volunteers, it's about 500 volunteers to help us out to make it. They all get a pass for all 3 days. That's 1,700 plus fan members. They all get a pass for 3 days as well. You get the venues, like Jake's venue, they get passes for being all of our staff, the main staff, they are volunteers. So it ends up becoming between 5,000 and 7,000 people that are at this hands on. But it gets dispersed all over. So they're not all in one place at one time.
One of our current question is, what is the ask of the CRA?
What I'm trying to get is help in paying some of the expenditures that the city that first used both of the plaza. I don't expect this to give up half the budget of what they have, but if there's any money that we can do, these are the levels of sponsorships we have. We have a $20,000 sponsorship that I don't think is actually on here. That's our main top tier. That's like what is at Gainesville adult levels. And then the other ones are $2,500 for a second tier sponsorship or $1,500 for a third tier sponsorship.
I'm ready to make a motion. Well, we'll have Mr. Palmer and then we'll take a motion out.
I guess my question is more for staff. One of the things I would ask about this, I'm looking at, I think I'm probably close to, being similar on a motion or something like that. I wanted to see though, before I make any talk to the staff, do you guys have availability on October 28th to do some potential tabling there? For me, when I look at this, I think this is a good opportunity for us to do some marketing, community outreach. It's kind of like we're both supporting the grant, we're supporting a community event, and there would be some opportunity for us to do marketing.
I think we could certainly arrange that. I mean, we do whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you didn't already have like conflicts of interest or, conflicting events or something that day or the ability.
Hold up to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever there's an opportunity to partner, especially when the board also recommends, like, we'll do everything that we can to table it and be a part of that, so.
Sure.
Opportunity to speak to the chair. If you, I thought there might be an opportunity to clarify that this funding could come from a different source.
Yes, for the economic development.
Yes.
They give money, well, I think he did, tourist development, that. You said he gets Visit Gainesville.
Visit Gainesville does, and that's county money.
Well, today, in the CRA funding.
We have this community fund, community partnership fund, and then we also have economic development.
So if it's something that the board wants to do, you don't have to do it from this phone, you can do it from
Economic development.
So Daniel Blumberg, GCRA staff, we have over $400,000 that.
400,000. Okay, so I accept the motion.
I'm not a precedent for every funding something like this for business.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that with the board. He's never done anything like this before. So we have to be careful for what we say.
This will be the last time with the new program.
Right.
We're on top.
You can't do it under the grant.
But I do like the fact that it came out of the economic development, but that made a lot of sense, so it makes me a lot more comfortable.
Doing something for profit.
Just want to put that out there for everybody to think about.
I just want to make a comment, thank you for doing this again. So,
It's amazing what you've done over the last 20 years. And that you're so passionate about it, this is a great event, you're bringing people to town. I've heard people come from all over the world to come to this thing, They don't know where the University of Florida is, but they know where the fest is in Gainesville, Florida. So you're to be commended. Thank you for all your efforts and your passion.
Thank you so much. It really does a lot. And, it's grown from this community. We started it off very small just to kind of like try to do something. And it was 10 years later after we did our best 10-year anniversary, I think that's when Visit Gainesville, and that's when the city commissioners started paying attention to what we were doing. Before that, we were always flying under the radar as a bunch of punks and with big punks, and everybody has a bad idea about punks, but I feel like we're more hippies than we are punks about stuff. We just want to build up our community and showcase it. And what better way to showcase it than just to walk the streets of downtown Gainesville and be able to hop in from venue to venue and venue, and every venue have its own unique, stamp on things.
I make a motion that we use funding from the economic development, which had $400,000. And if we could do the $320 to pay for the budget class. With the next number you gave,
Yes.
you said 23.
That's my estimate right now, but I think that's overwhelming. So thank you.
Would you mind if I add just a little piece to that?
Yes.
Let me go. I would say if we are doing that, I would like to see us, obviously be considered one of the main tier sponsors.
Correct. The main tier sponsorship is 20,000. Just, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think it's on here, because usually we do that. It is on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is 20,000. I believe that does include tabling like you were talking about.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make
You
sure.
can choose that tabling to be at registration or at Bo Diddley Plaza during the event, or both. We have room for both.
You said, just for clarity, what is Visit Gainesville sponsoring at?
Visit Gainesville is a top tier sponsor.
Okay,
So right now it's Visit Gainesville, a luxury drum company. Smart home records that also does merchandising. We do in trade with them.
He was asking you, would you like to make a premium?
but I guess it sounds like, I just wanted to make sure that that money, we are classified as a top tier sponsor with top tier sponsor events and, all of the marketing that comes associated with that.
I think that's not, so we must ask.
So I will second, yes, I second the motion as it's.
So it's moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion?
Could you tell us, please, what is this distinction of main tier sponsorship and main tier beverage? What's the main tier beverage?
Main tier beverage is, we feel like it's in better interest of beverage companies
Oh,
like Pass Blue Ribbon to give us a little bit more money than anybody else, since they actually sell more product that weekend than anybody else.
Any other questions?
Sure. So the motion on the floor by member Cox, second by the homeowner, and are you looking at a specific amount?
Yeah, they nominated $20,000 from economic development.
23. That's what you have, but on the form you have.
And EMTs, GPD,
So
not waste. We still gotta get waste.
would that still make us a main tier sponsor?
Would that-
Y'all just calling out numbers.
Would that,
I'll give you a little bit more with that.
is that what's above Visit Gainesville?
Not on a visibility wise, but in my heart, yes. I don't think we make the one that goes above the poster yet. But
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we still in discussions, okay? First, I'm gonna let Daniel say something, and I don't know who's in the back. Y'all need to talk about front. But go ahead, Daniel.
So, and go to front.
yeah, go ahead.
So we definitely appreciate the excitement to help support the fest. If we could request, because the fest is until November.
End of October.
Oh, sorry, end of October. If we could request to bring this back next month after we confirm city commission, city managements, that's the board can actually approve of this funding request from the economic development pool of funding. That would let us talk to legal, make sure that there's everything is going to be able to work for that per the board's recommendation.
Okay, all we're doing, is making a recommendation to send to the board.
The recommendation is for the city manager to look at it and be able to provide feedback back. To the board.
Go ahead.
why can't we provisionally approve it out of the 43 balance? And I don't know if we have fungibility and switch it to economic development.
Well, we don't want to do that, because that would take more money away from giving it to our community, other community organizations that want it. So we have opportunity to pay for it out of different, and that's what that's why. So right now, the recommendation is that we're gonna support the fence at the level of $23,320. And it's going to be based, you're gonna come back though after we talk with the city manager. So it's a conditional recommendation based on the city manager. All right, with that, everybody understand?
I have to assume too that we are given this money and we move forward with the sponsorship level and things like that. That if it were focusing directly on this in kind, we would present to the CRA, here is our bills that we collected or paid for these rentals of voted deposit from the city. Is that how it would work?
Is that how it- is that how it works?
Hi, Chair, David. So typically, what we have done in the past is we receive an invoice from the organization and we fund directly to the organization.
That's what I wanted to be clear on. If it was more like just a direct, like you're paying for the sponsorship and then we take that money. That's what I want to make sure.
What did you find at 23,320?
He called it out.
Oh, I see 23,340. It's tiny different.
He said 20.
I mean, if it's easier, we can just call it 20, but I'll definitely use the extra 3,000.
We already made the most now.
Thank you.
So it's in motion, second by Mr. Paul, the recommendation for 23-20, for the Fed and the main tier sponsor, conditional approval of the city manager, and we'll get that information for you to come back again in October. That's all right. Next, I'm sorry, next month. I heard October. I mean, oh, that's what you're in. Okay. I'm sorry. So is that we all clear?
Till August, right?
We meet August 2nd. So we meet July 19th, July 19th. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you back in.
July 19th. Store mentoring service. Oh.
I am no.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Those are the missions.
Shonda Mead, I am the founder and executive director of 501c3 organization based out of Gainesville, Florida. We are currently housed at GTech, Saturday GTech at 2153 South East. Stands for Students, Opportunities, Academics, and Resources. With this, I was a single Black African American mom. Things that my children struggle with in school, which was opportunities, academics, and then also the available resources that they have in school. So I came to the store. And we are here, I am here to ask for sponsorship. We are having on July the 2nd, from 1 to 4 p.m. We are having a event. We are in the street, Northeast. For a fun diversity, equity, and inclusion event to bring everybody out to the east side of Gainesville, because there's really nothing happening on the east side of Gainesville besides all the dollar stuff. So we just want to bring everybody out for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and focus on our youth, all children. So we came up with the East Gainesville because so we to engage the community. There will be several events out there. We're going to have the spaces. We're going to be there for street painting. We're going to have a sand art license. They'll be able to make art to take it home. There'll also be a glass etching station. So there are also going to be things for them to have and take home. We're also going to have vendors there. We're going to have exclusive food truck out there, exclusive food truck We're gonna have serious food truck out there. We're gonna have a vendor who is selling seafood. We're gonna have a vendor that's selling lemonade. There's also gonna be informational tables out there. There's gonna be informational tables from the crisis center. There's gonna be information table from Florida Group, which offers free health insurance to those who qualify. We also open the event up for all school board candidates to come and introduce themselves, because the parents need to know who they're going to be working with as school board candidates. So we're asking for, unfortunately, I did apply for the seed grant. I was a couple of days late. Because I was waiting for, I'm a paperwork person. I didn't want to advertise this or ask for anything until I got the city permit in my hand. It took a couple of extra weeks to get the city permit because people were out for COVID. And then when they were out for COVID, other departments went on vacation. So it did take a few weeks for them to get the city permit. This is a pilot program, it's the first year we're doing the program, so it's kind of slow this year. But as we do the program this year, we want it to grow bigger. So we want to have next year, we want to have more. But again, this is a permanent part of the future. We do have expenditures. We're going to actually see the in-kind for GPD.
So we were gonna actually, which is GPD, which is the MOC that we have through the barricades. We have rural restrooms, they're gonna provide porta potties, it's gonna be the food and firms, we're gonna have nutrition available, and water, we're gonna be AC in front of the houses. So we have a DJ, DJ Elo will actually be the DJ out there. So the expenses are $10,817. We are expecting $1,500 from the Children's Trust and the sponsorship. I did participate in the year for my first year.
What's your total up to around?
My total right now, we have $500, $5,000. We just need $5,817 to make this event successful. And again, it's for our youth to come out and know that we as a community support them.
Member Northwest and Metro.
Do you have any other sources that you're looking at in addition to this one? Do you know?
I honestly, because I am the new kid on the block with the 501c3 nonprofit organization, and I found out that it's kind of hard to secure contributions and grants because you're new, and a lot of the funders want to see existing things that you've done. Now, last year, I don't know if you saw it on the news, we did the Coats for Kids drive. We gave, I think it was like 73 children in Alachua County brand new coats and personal care items. So we have been doing stuff in the community. The year before that, we did a Thanksgiving food drive, and we did a toy drive for the young lady and her baby that was killed. So we've been trying to do
Do you, I mean, are you at this point looking for $5,000? Is that what, I mean, are you expecting?
if that. See, but if that's possible, I truly appreciate it.
Oh, it's number 5.
Okay. So currently we are not servicing directly because of COVID, and we're coming out of COVID. But we're seeking funds, so another idea I have is to start a parent and student resource center out of GTech. And I'm seeking funding for that. So with the Parent and Resource Center, I know a lot of parents are afraid to go to the district and ask for help because simply they don't want their child to be labeled, or they don't want to be labeled as bad parents. So with the Resource Center, I have on the SOAR team, I have 2 licensed clinical mental health counselors. I have 2 nurse practitioners who are focusing on youth mental health. So we'll just work with different organizations and provide supports and services. I am educated to provide training on how to I have been to where I currently mental student, and I help parents attend 504 and that they can understand, to make sure that they know what they can ask for from the school district, or from the state of Florida for their children.
Yeah. The event they're gonna have is on what day?
Saturday, July the 2nd.
July the 2nd.
Yes, ma'am, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
And it's gonna be like
The community event, yes, ma'am. So it's something like the Fifth Avenue Arts Festival, but we're catering to children. We're catering to all children. And it's going to be here on the east side of Gainesville because we want to bring diversity.
So of the programs that the 5 programs you've included in here, the one that you've done before that's in here is the Coach for Kids.
Correct, the Coach for Kids. And I'm sorry, I did not discuss. So you do have 5 activities in the book, as he stated. Those are proposed activities that we want to do this year. So the dates are TBA.
Madam Chair, did I make a motion or you want to make one?
Anybody? Well, yeah, you can make a motion.
Okay, I move that we provide $13,000 for a store that's to cover the balance she still has for the barbecue event and her encore event, Coach for Kids.
It's a total of 5, I'm sorry, it's a total of 5 events. If you look in the proposed budget, so the date we have right now is the barbecue cook-off for July the 2nd, 2022. We also have other events that we want to do for the youth. Like I said, 4 is geared towards youth and to include all of you, not just African Americans. Because we want to do those. So he's speaking of all of the other proposed things that we have listed here.
Okay. It's been moved, properly second. Discussion? Ms. Morgan?
Still have a question. So you're gonna have this event, how are you gonna advertise, or are you advertising?
Advertising, we actually have been advertising it on social media, and we are gonna pass these out as well, and it should be one in your proposal. Yes, sir. And we have other organizations like the Children's Trust helping us advertise as well.
Clarity's sake, where would the funds for this be coming from? This
This
is
is
part
the
of the
community.
community.
What is it, the $42,000? Right?
Remember the policy you just approved, might get passed also.
But the policy that we just approved, they don't go in effect tonight. Right. So it's just the $42,000 fine is what we're talking about, right?
So they said the other one is in effect for 30 days.
My understanding was whatever money they allocate, tonight is not a score. It's not $32,000.
So, you know, what we're discussing here, right? If you are doing this with community partnership grant funds, then that would reduce the $42,000 down.
Well, may I make a friendly motion? I mean, okay.
Is there another place where these funds would come out of, just for clarity for this?
That is where those funds would come out of, and it would reduce the total dollar amount. That we will be rolling in the next fiscal year, there'll be 15,000, so whatever that total is by October 1st, essentially. I want to also just make sure everyone understands the perspective of the different tiers and keep that in mind. And also the precedents that these kind of decisions are making. Also, typically we do one event at a time. So she's asking for one event. So I'm just laying out the facts, and then please know that we probably should, if we're going to go this dollar amount, we have to vet something like that. $5,000 is the threshold usually. Anything above $5,000, we typically go to legal, and we typically go to the city manager for approval. So I want to make sure I make that.
I thought we were looking at that 5,000 cap for the new program site.
So I'll try to clarify. The thought is correct. Right now, there's $42,000 and there's no structure in place at this time. However, even city staff can't make purchases over $5,000. And so this is in an uncharted territory. Usually When different people come to the board, they have a dollar amount that they're asking for, and we usually don't go over that dollar amount, and that's what's happening at this time. And so we would need to vet something like that kind of purchase through legal and through the city manager before something could be decided on specifically.
What she said, however, Member Blunt made the recommendation.
She didn't ask.
She didn't ask for that. She asked for the $5,000. You asked for $5,000 to make up.
And I brought it up because this is something she already has record on. She's done it.
And you withdrawing your motion?
You know, you said you wanted to offer an amendment.
Oh, my amendment would be that we give what you asked for, but then with speaking with staff, 5,000 is the max that we can get. In your event, it's in a couple of weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would recommend that we do the $5,000, so you wouldn't have to go through legal and city manager and all of that. So I'm gonna ask Ms. Blunt to offer friendly amendment, where we just give her the $5,000. And for future events, you can come back, is that correct?
That is wonderful, yes.
Okay, that's my.
Yes, she made president.
So you accept it, the amendment? So it's been probably moved and second. Any further discussion?
So what I was wondering is if we're given this $5,000, I would like to see how it worked out. So I'd like to see.
Well, everybody else.
Yeah, no, I understand showing up. It's one way, it's also possibly getting some kind of a report back in terms of what was the attendance, what was the event, how did it go? I think that would serve you well in future opportunities with the business. So that's why I'm suggesting.
Please come back.
Member Palmer.
Quick question with some of this stuff, are there already provisions within the community partnership grant of having people come back and tell us what we said? I believe we asked about that.
Yeah.
Would you be open to, since that is sort of already on here, would you be open to a friendly amendment of us following kind of the guidelines within this programs? We just.
You know, like that program is not on yet.
No, I understand that. I understand it's not on that, but as far as like the reporting and returning to us, I get, yeah.
Specifically the post-event reporting section. It's listed here in section 5 on the grant program, just so
that we have some clarity, so that we know we're like kind of trying to follow.
Yeah, I was just trying to.
But I don't think we should do it again. Let me tell you why, because we just talked about that's done start yet. So I don't want us to wait till we get to the third person asking for money to start talking about what we should do. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it the way you just did all the rest of it. So I just don't think I don't think this is the time for that, but I do think that should definitely be a part of the community partnership grant going forward. But right now, we're not talking about the community partnership grant. I don't just like, you said, I don't want us to set the precedent that we just let all the other people go through it. We didn't tell them these things, but I do think you're correct. I think you should. And I would like to. I agree with you, because I would like to see what happens, how many people attended. And he is correct. That would help you going forward, to have that type of statistics and have that kind of stuff, because you are new. So that would be my only thing with regard to what we do.
I have one minor question. Well, what is this location, 1028 Northeast 14th Street?
It's the street between MLK and Citizen Field. So we're gonna have that street barricaded off. The same one that Ms. Henriquez.
A lot of organizations, we do it too, from my church.
And I know somebody asked a question about food trucks and insurances for food trucks. The food trucks that are there, I have a copy of their insurance policy. So the food trucks have to be insured, but the vendors are covered under the city permit and under my insurance policy.
We have a motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all. Good luck.
Madam Chair, just so I'm clear, we just approved 5,000.
Just 5,000. Yes.
Which I can plan on.
Yeah, just 5. All right. Who is our next person? All right. Come on down, pride celebration.
We are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Natalie Goodman, and I am representing Pool, where I am a bartender and also the organizer, director of this Pride event, Street Festival. It's happening actually this Friday, so kind of a quick turnaround time here. Yes, this is what we're hoping to get some funds for. So yeah, thanks so much for having me. The event is intended to celebrate local LGBTQ talent, and as you can see in the flyer, the festival will take place in the street in front of the bowl, which has been closed off since early in the pandemic. So, it will be in conjunction with the regular monthly art walk that he puts on. And the event will be painting, busking, and driven by local LGBTQ profits. And so then the art will be by a series of bands that are located kind of all around North Central Florida, followed by a drag show and then a dance party. So we actually have already received a generous contribution from the city of Gainesville, the Cultural Affairs Department, that has allowed us to pay our performance and to enable us to make this a free event that's open to the public. For some of the incidental costs that have come up throughout the course of the planning process. And so I mean, really anyone would be helpful, but specifically this money would be used to help us offset the costs of advertising, stage equipment that we've been renting, and the labor hours accrued. So I think this event will be of value to a number of levels. So maybe the most saliently, we'll be donating all the proceeds from the the Unspoken Treasure Society. So we'll see the organization that's in Gainesville, and she'll be providing support and resources for local trans and gender non-conformity, especially in color. And we chose them because of the kind of urgency of their mission, I think. When I think trans people, particularly trans youth, are being targeted by a lot of kind of patriarchal rhetoric and Florida. And so they're already vulnerable and we're at risk recently. And so we kind of need kind of looking for organization, all the fact that they are an organization for trans and gender non-conforming people run by trans and gender non-conforming people. So maybe some to give money directly to members of the community who are working for that community. And so the bigger benefit I think this grant will provide is cultural enrichment for the city. So the city commission voted to close 2 blocks on Southwest Avenue, which is where the bowl is located. And created that already closed off where it's place. So I think that's what outdoor space to continue operating. And it has been actually the street closure has been, I think, really beneficial in general already in terms of cultural enrichment. Kind of personally watched a whole community blossom, like bringing people in from all these different demographics and generations and walks of life to kind of gather around and share it. We want to do many participants. But this event, it will be the biggest event to occur in the streets of Florida. And honestly, all of and then the third benefit is related to that. And I think the benefit is that it simply is a private So, our community hasn't really put any tab on Gainesville for the past 2 years due to the pandemic. And then Gainesville is normally that's kind of, which. But, yeah, we wanted to have something in June, to kind of commemorate from, more widely recognized. And really, because, we call it Pride Month, people try is Southeast June. So that's, I think, a feeling that us all understanding that we need to experience more people like to do this time. And, more obvious ones of political activism, obviously, are vitally important. But I think simply celebrating queer joy, especially at this moment when our existence under threat, is really
So Fox and then number one, and then number. All right, what did you say your name was? Net. $300 made up.
Like you can taste it.
So I don't know.
Because a lot of my good friends are.
So I'm in the mood. I don't think we need to have a lot of discussion about $300. I'm moving that we build,
This organization $300.
I have
they
to
move and put it in my discussion.
You're not in connection with Swarthy East Gainesville, right?
no, I think that might have been a typo, yeah.
Is this the first major event since losing Terry? Since losing Terry.
Harry?
Terry Fleming.
Major event since Terry Fleming.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And, and my third question, go ahead.
Somebody, that's what I said.
You go ahead. Already there. Fires and direction. Seems like we won't see water for the purpose.
Okay, you got any other questions?
Thank you for telling me about the sauce.
Really well attended. People seem to really have a great time. So.
So, yeah, thank you for the interest. It really. And,
Any other comments or questions?
There's a motion on the floor, All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Thank you. Good luck, Karen.
Northwest Fifth Avenue Streetscape Phase 3.
Madam Chair, as you know, the board received a presentation from CHW regarding the current development going on Northwest Fifth Avenue. And to give you a little bit of background, and in fact, it might have been a part of it back in the day. We went through 2 phases of the streetscape, starting up on Pleasant Street through Northwest Fifth Avenue up to 10th Street. And now we have the ongoing development, and so. Your last name, Didenbach. Very Didenbach from CHW is here to expand on his presentation from March and provide you with the next steps and so on.
I just want to say how fun it is to be here and watch you do so many good things for these organizations. Talking about food, talking about barbecue, talking about food trucks. We're in the background. So I'm Jerry Diedenbach. I'm Executive Vice President of CHW, and we were here about a year ago. And then there was this thing, the pandemic, and then there was a change in city managers a couple times, and then you all have lost the executive director of the CRA. And so there's been a little time that's left between the last time we were here and today. I'm here today to talk to you about the status where we are with this project, and specifically talk a little bit about what we mentioned last time. And we have a very simple request tonight. We're not requesting direct participation at this point, but we are requesting that you direct us to go back and to come back to you in a month with some specific estimates. And I want to talk specifically about project opportunities that exist. But when we were here before, we were talking specifically about the implementation of the CRA streetscape directly related to the Seminary Lane project. At that time, we had some of the frontage along Fifth Avenue from about this point here near 12th back to approximately, and if this has a laser in it, yes, right here, about a half a block short of where the existing streetscape terminates on Fifth Avenue here. We also told you all that in that process, in this funky little shape here, we had control of the north side of the street and an ability to work there. The west side of the street here on 12th, the west side of the street, wherever you see a yellow or a orange box, we had actual operation that would be going on that would be tearing up sidewalks, replacing utilities, and working within the right of way. Well, that was a year ago. And a few things have happened that haven't been totally bad over the last year. But we wanted to get the CRA's direction on whether or not you wanted to extend the streetscaping from where it currently terminates here at 10th all the way out here, and we would be just short of 13th Street here. Well, if I fast forward a little bit through here, there are also some opportunities that we recognized a year ago for entry signage into the Fifth Avenue corridor and neighborhood for undergrounding utilities, which currently, if you walk the streets and the sidewalks out there, many of the actual utility poles are right in the center of the sidewalk. And consistent with city policy, we would like to see those utilities undergrounded in this corridor. Especially if you drive along 12th, you will see that there are several trees that are scalloped right out of the middle, and the utilities go right dead center through there. And the trees look like wishbones, sort of. So by working with GRU, we were hoping to be able to underground utilities here to restore the tree canopy. So a year ago, we made a request to you all, and although there was no motion at the time, the recommendation was to proceed forward and to work toward coming up with some sort of solution and coming back. Well, that was then. Now I have a little bit different and a little bit better opportunity, we feel, because over the last year, not only are we moving forward with this project here that Tremel Webb is doing, and with me tonight is Mr. Toby Arnheim in the back row. He's one of the project managers and co-project directors of that. But as you all might know, this property here is being done at the corner of 5th Avenue and 13th Street. And it goes along 4th and then 14th, and then there are actually some townhomes being built here behind the former ABC. So Landmark Properties is building what's called Legacy on 5th on this side. This building is close to being ready for occupancy, but we also have in this project the city's first bicycle pedestrian street ever being done, which is technically called a WUNERF. And Landmark Properties would like to have some involvement in this overall program because, again, they're on the 5th Avenue corridor, and as a gateway coming down 13th Street, they would like to see an enhanced streetscape beyond code minimum here, which means sidewalks and streetlights and a few street trees. They would also like to investigate the opportunity of really making this WUNERF here a truly remarkable sort of bicycle pedestrian street. Nextly, recently, the city of Gainesville, after the plan board unanimously approved the right-of-way vacation of this little piece of land here in favor of opening up this street fully through here, 908 Group has purchased the properties that were the Sweet Berries here. They're expanding and moving to a larger location, the old Mother Earth Market or Earth Origins, and then this portion. So in this color-coded diagram that you can see here, Landmark will have the yellow area frontages here along 5th and 13th. 908 group has frontage along 13th and then the north side of Fifth Avenue and then the south side of Fifth Avenue. And then in the Seminary Lane project that Trumbull Webb is doing, that helps complete because we have actual construction projects that are along the frontage of 12th here and then the north side of Fifth and then all the way over to here, which again only leaves now a half side of the street that the city would have to partner with us on. And then down here, a half side of the street, and then this little last bit. Fast forwarding again over the last year, this red line that you see here is the Heritage Trail. And what we would like to do is work with the city and the CRA to ensure that we get a good starting place here, because in this direction, and I'm going to go from west to east, some of the things that we envision happening here is completion of this little bit of streetscape here from 10th to where our properties pick up. And then over on this side here, partnering with the city, because nobody is doing a project here right now that we're involved with or has come forward to work with the CRA. So from here, we envision that enhancing the sidewalk and public realm would be a viable project along Fifth Avenue and 13th Street. Nextly, I will talk to the Department of Transportation and Mobility in the city. And if you looked at the mast arms here, they're really, really delaminated. They were originally like an anodized aluminum. They're tremendously faded. So refreshing the signal here and creating some gateway signage to the Fifth Avenue neighborhood is a project for consideration. Then nextly, specifically placing an entry sign here where the closest point to like the trail is, rebuilding the roads and sidewalks along this section here, undergrounding the utilities through this corridor here and north-south here on 12th. And then I had this extra arrow come in because in this corner here, there is a lot that is being donated back as a community park in conjunction with the Seminary Lane project. Working with the 908 group, when they were going through their right-of-way vacation for this right-of-way here, I spoke to Eric Duda and Brad and asked them if they would consider in the right-of-way exchange adding land from the east end of their acquisition and increasing the size of this gateway park or pocket park here to about a half of an acre total. So with all the new residents that are going to live here and in the community, this is a nice place to put a park. So it's right on the corner where the Heritage Trail comes through. And then nextly from that is rebuilding the roads and the sidewalks here in this section. So hopefully, I didn't make this too complicated with the color, but the yellow here would be portions of the project that Landmark would be doing in the form of streetscaping and upgrading the pedestrian realm, which would include landscaping and hardscaping. We'd like to talk about working on the city's first bicycle pedestrian prioritized street or WUNRF here. And then here where the orange and blue areas are is working to complete what's the CRA's phase 3 streetscape that would take it from the current terminus here at 10th all the way out and finish that project. And we have 3 clients and they all have projects underway right now and they all want to work with the city and the CRA to bring this to fruition. So just to give you some pretty pictures, if you've driven down 13th Street, this is the old ABC. This is the 5-story landmark project that we're doing in there. This shows what code compliant is. It's just a tree every 50 feet or so and an occasional street light in there. On Fifth Avenue, we did the first also prioritized rideshare pullout so that people aren't parking an Uber or a Lyft or other vehicle here in the street, or FedEx, Amazon, UPS is not parking in the street. This is the first prioritized rideshare pullout and quick delivery because their package and parcel delivery is here. This is the new WUNRF that would be created on the south side that sits between the old ABC store, which is now a medical marijuana distributor.
And this is the view of the code compliant, and we'd like to go beyond that to really dress this portion of 13th Street up. That's the corner of 5th Avenue where the new gate is built, but we would like to work with you all and improve this from just being a concrete sidewalk. The northeast corner where Sweet Berries is currently located, this is a 5-story rendering, and this again shows merely what a code compliant landscaping plan would be, which is a narrow landscaping here, concrete sidewalks, a little building frontage zone, but the street lights wouldn't be anything more enhanced than what FDOT puts out for your basic sort of lighting. You see no street furniture on here. These projects will all have similar setbacks. They'll be 20 to 25 feet from back of curb, whereas today, most of the actual development sits with a very narrow sidewalk right on the back of curb. There are also in the 908 project, adjacent to that park area that they are going to dedicate, going to create some small townhome type buildings that will have residential development in it, but these will actually sit and they're fronting on the park and they'll be on-street parking. So this is the view of what 5th Avenue looked like before construction started. As you can see, the sidewalks in this area are generally 3 feet in nature, sometimes a little less, and they were frequently penetrated by driveway cuts to get into different properties. And you can see that the utility poles in a lot of cases, like right here, are sitting right in the sidewalks, as well as many meters and valves and other utility pieces in there. This is a sketch that we presented last time, and it shows you the difference between what old standards were with the sidewalks actually here. And you can see that the street pans have actually been paved into to add width to the travel lanes. So this will all be rebuilt during the course of the project. And we would like to come back with more generous landscaping and hardscaping zones with on-street furniture and trash containers, city lighting that is consistent with the CRA's corridor, working in the sidewalks, and then a generous landscape zone to connect to the building edges. And this again is actually it's a picture of what this looks like, or a sketch. That's that fence there. Now that property, since we originally drew this, is included in the 908 group's property, and this would be the location of the pocket park. That little intersection on the park, or about 8-foot concrete disc in the center, is being pulled out, and that is going to be turned into a full roundabout intersection there. This is looking from the east side westerly, and 13th Street is right down here. And again, you can see fire hydrants exist in the sidewalk, utility poles exist here, and this is a very narrow corridor. It's hard to imagine how somebody walking down that corridor, if they had any sort of visual impairment, or if they were pushing, or pulling on a cart or anything, that they could make it through there. So when you look at that, we want to come back and increase the width from 20 to 25 feet from back of curb, which would allow an area for landscaping as well as ornamental lighting consistent with the CRA's program, brick sidewalks on both sides, and then a much more generous landscaping area on either side. And you can see this still shows a little bit of the roundabout, but that will be expanded to be a larger full-size community roundabout. We have identified out of the 3 different projects the following opportunities. Number 1 is streetscaping. This one has the shortest time frame on it, and we need to move very quickly. And if given direction tonight to, yes, come back in a month, Jerry, with some figures so we can start to look at this, this is what we really need to focus on. This would probably be a multiple partnership between the CRA, Tremel Webb, and then the 908 group, because they have the frontages along 5th Avenue and then 12th. Nextly, the underground utilities. This would be potentially CRA, Tremel Webb, the 908 group, and GRU working together, because GRU also wants to take those aged utilities off those poles, clear that site line down, and clear that tree canopy, and put that underground. A little further out, and these can actually wait probably a year or so, because that corner at 12th and 5th is currently accommodate. Sometimes people are parking there, sometimes people are throwing tires and garbage there. But until the projects get built, we don't think that it's a good idea to build a park there because we think it would be damaged during construction and all other vehicles will be moving around the area. And so we'd also like to take a little time and really coordinate this through some form of a community charrette in conjunction with the Heritage Trail to make sure that the right type of park is built there. That will be through a donation back from the developers, as well as a monetary contribution that has been included in the overall project from Tremel Webb. The last piece in here that is a question that I have, and I don't think, and Mo can offer clarification, is affordable housing on here. As a part of the project, and if I pack up a few slides, this land here that sits north of the water tower is currently where the construction trailer and construction staging is happening. Once the buildings are built, the construction trailer and staging can be removed, and then at least 8 to 10 affordable housing units will be placed here, right on 5th Avenue. Adjacent to that property that was part of the transaction, there are 1, 2, 3 lots that are in ownership by the city, either under the CRA or under the city of Gainesville. And it's a discussion that we have started with the city in seeing whether or not the city would want to surplus those lots or add them in so that we could boost the number from 8 to 10 residential affordable housing units here in perpetuity to maybe 12 to 15 units here. That's a discussion that I think will go on with Mr. Harris and the city manager.
Yes, ma'am. Fifth Avenue, about the red area.
Madam Chair, Ms. Fox's question is yes, this is 5th Avenue here. And at the intersection of 12th, there are old lots that exist here. And so we're trying to look at, we haven't chosen any architecture for that yet, whether or not to put single family detached houses, single family attached houses, or perhaps townhomes. If we do townhomes on there, and it's a discussion that I'm having with Andrew Persons, the planning director, if we do townhomes on there, there's the potential, because of the efficiency of building multiple housing units into a single structure, that we could get more on there. And this land here does have an old plat underneath it where there are really narrow old historic lots. So what we're trying to do here by working with the planning department and the city is do the most good. Because the more affordable housing units you can put on here, the better our community is served by the overall project. So that doesn't have a short timeline on it. These top two do, because they are actually, the projects are under construction right now. Landmark is close to pouring the concrete for their sidewalks, but they'd like to do CRA compliance. We are probably looking at occupancy in the fall of 2023. So we are within about a year and change of needing to finish this out. So we really need to make a decision over the next 6 months on how to proceed with these. These two can wait a little further because we want to put some more time and thought into those. And there's
Fifth Avenue one is not a priority to those who is there. No.
I would say these are priorities immediately because these projects are under construction now. And we have to make a decision whether or not to do CRA compliance or CRA street staging in there because the projects are under construction. And so we have a shorter time frame. We want to do CRA compliant and finish out phase 3 of the 5th Avenue corridor, but we need to know fairly quickly. The other things that I presented in giving you the full picture, like the park, this can wait a little while. And we can have a community charrette on how that works with the Gainesville Parks and Recreation and Cultural Affairs Department and dovetail that into the work on the Heritage Trail. And then the affordable housing doesn't need a decision right away. We can work with the city's housing authority on that. There's one other project in there, the 5th Avenue Water Tower. And speaking with Mo Mata, there was a fencing program to remove the chain link fence around the base of the water tower there. And if memory serves me and Mo correctly, GRU went out to purchase an aesthetic as well as safe, non-climbable, non-remediable type fence. Phil, are you hitchhiking or are you pointing something?
I'm hitchhiking. You got Ray right here.
Okay.
I used to be in water wastewater engineering.
Okay.
I started talking about this. So they've already purchased materials for that fence. And they.
Not installed yet, though, right?
No, they haven't installed it and they're gonna do two sides first and then the remaining two after construction, the construction facing sides at a later time.
Cool. So ideally, what we'd like to do, since you have not installed that yet, is to work in coordination with CRU so that the streetscaping from the curb up to where you're going to put the fence is done holistically through the corridor, and make sure that that is properly landscaped and then properly amenitized around the base of that. There was one additional piece that Mo and I talked about in that, and that's the coordination and placement of a potential projection on the tower to enhance urban placemaking. And Mo, I'll do my best to describe this, or Ray, or Phil's giving me other staff back there that can talk about. But there's an idea to place a projector, like a video projector, up on like one of the Seminary Lane buildings and project it onto the tower so that when events occur, like the Fifth Avenue Arts Fest, or there are other community events, that tower can be illuminated like you often see in other cities. It would give the city a chance not to necessarily have advertisement on the tower, but to celebrate events that were going on. We had also met with the Gainesville Police Department and offered to GPD the ability to run fiber optic up to the rooftops of all these buildings so that they could add enhanced security cameras to watch Fifth Avenue, 12th Street, 13th Street, and the proximate area. And so by giving them access to the rooftop vantage points, if you will, for cameras and physical monitoring devices, we thought it was a really cool idea when Mo came up with the thought about, let's project something on the Fifth Avenue tower there and use that and change it with seasons or change it with special events. That one, again, is not under a time crunch. The ones that are under a time crunch are clearly the streetscaping, because these projects are under construction and we will get to a point where we need to know. So the only ask I have tonight for you is whether you would like us to come back with sort of an a la carte menu of costs and project elements. If it weren't for COVID and timing, I would have had a table, but I would like to come back with this graphic and say that for every 100 feet of this, which is about 700 feet, it would cost this amount. The reason I didn't get that is because actually my project engineer who's doing this project, and this project has been out with COVID. And while he's giving me some estimates, we have to figure out, and we want to be very clear, because the CRA money, in our opinion, should only be spent from the right of way to the end of the curb. From the end of the property line inward to the property. See a situation created like this created around landmark properties where there are discussions of city writes huge checks to developer. We want the CRA money to be spent in the public realm, meaning inside the right of way and the public property, and the developers will match on private property what the CRA does. And as you might imagine, that involves my engineers and surveyors going in and measuring the square footage of, well, how much is inside the property line versus how much is in the right of way, and coming back to you with really precise estimates of saying the city's contribution would be, in this case, 50%, the developer's 50%. Maybe here, because of the narrow right of way, it might be 80% developer, 20% city. But I want to make sure and everybody understands that the city's money and the request would be spent in the public right of way and not on private property. I think that's a real important concern. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. All we'd like to do is come back next month and give you an à la carte.
Member Blunt, then Member Palmer.
I have one question for staff and then a bunch for Mr. Diedenbeck. What is the current balance in the old Fifth Avenue Pleasant Street budget, the pre-GCRA balance?
So the TIP funding for clarification?
Yes.
Can you give me just a minute to get that for you, please?
I'll start my questions, Mr. Diedenbeck.
Sure.
First, the trees you mentioned that are scalloped out because of this overhead utilities, will they survive the undergrounding?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Whether the trees would live through undergrounding utilities. Primarily, the core of the undergrounding would occur on the side where a lot of trees don't exist. This area here would be done by a directional bore, so they would navigate there.
That Woonard, will that Woonard be closed to motor vehicles?
Madam Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry, what I know.
Mr. Blunt's questions, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just used to repeating questions. So the Wooner, the question is whether the Wooner would be closed to motor vehicles. It technically can't, but it will be highly discouraged and it'll be designed very uncomfortably for vehicles, meaning that the narrow lane will be on the south side here by the old ABC, and then it'll shift to the north side here, and then it'll shift to the south side. And so it will be signed as bike ped, and it'll be very, very tight in there. And with the change in materials, it will not look like a place where you would take a vehicle. However, a fire truck or an emergency vehicle would make it through there, as would a utility vehicle, because the transformers that supply the power into this block are located here and here, and there are transformers on this side of the street and here, so GRU needs to get through there too. It'd be highly discouraged for motor vehicle drivers though.
Now on this map, could you point out the site of that smallish building that 908 is doing, the little square?
Yes. The small buildings that 908 are doing as the little sort of cottage looking buildings are right here, and they would be on this park area here. The larger buildings are here and here.
On the park or facing?
They'll be facing the orientation of the park here, right here.
Okay. And now, later on, if that affordable housing happens, that was talked about very well. I had the impression way back when that Trammell Webb was going to totally finance that. Are you talking about the city's, when you say city partnership, and you're talking about the donation of lots?
Yes, and the question is, yes, Trammell Webb will be doing this here out of their actual obligation and contract with the housing authority. So that we're not looking for anything here, maybe design guidance. When I'm talking about partnership, is there's an opportunity here on these lots that maybe the city.
Mom's kitchen and the city lots.
Yeah, maybe the city could, put those in and, we'll find some way to get some additional housing on those lots. It'll just make a nice complete finish for that street.
I want to leave a suggestion in your ear, and GHA would have to cooperate. But if those 3 lots are added in, I'd suggest something that's really reminiscent of the, you said maybe townhouses. So maybe those garden style townhouses that Seminary Lane had, if you could, if something is reminiscent of those, that would be really nice. The city, I can't really ask that. Other. Did you get that balance?
I'm still working on it, and that's running a little slower than I'd like. I'll get it to you as soon as I have it.
We have some other questions.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to, I think this is where,
I'm sort of losing steam and mental power at this point. I really think this is worth a little bit more discussion. I'd like to make a motion to see you come back with the a la carte budget as requested, and as part of that motion, so Daniel's not over here fighting to come up with the numbers, we bring that back as well.
I think that would be a big, I agree with you. I think that's the big deciding factor on all of this stuff. Can we put it at the beginning of the meeting as well?
I'm ready to.
Yeah.
We moved and properly second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you. We really appreciate it. I'd like to quote, a professional colleague I really value in this, Mr. Person. We had a meeting with the manager and with Mo and Phil and Corey, and then all the department directors got together. And when I asked the question, how often does it come where we have three groups that want to work together to help the city finish this off? And Andrew's words were, we'd be silly if we didn't take this opportunity. So we really hope we can come up with something great here and really create a wonderful corridor along here and really enhance the future of the Heritage Trail as it comes through here. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. All right, Heartwood update.
Everyone. Lopez, GCRA staff. Keep it brief. I know we're all tired. So, Heartwood, a quick update. Okay, sorry. I'm here because at the March meeting, the board made a motion to bring back Dreams Reality financing. So the short part of that is that we're not quite ready to have that discussion. We'll know numbers more hopefully in about 4 or 5 months because of how the contracts are structured. We're doing a cost plus contract, so we'll know the true cost of the homes. But we have received 7 permits. If you drive by the neighborhood, there's actually something happening. We have the first slab poured. Trusses are being delivered this week, so the first house will start burning up this week. And the next couple of months, it's going to look a lot different than it has. So we're super excited about that. As you know, so we entered into the cost plus contract in December based on the numbers that the builders came up with. And we know that costs are changing, prices are increasing. And there is a good chance that we may need to identify additional funding for the homes, as we have promised. But as I said, because it's a cost contract, we won't know until the homes are closer to being completed and what those numbers will be.
So I have a question. Who are the contractors? Is it only one contractor doing those in the home?
It's Flanagan and Elevated.
And then, just so I'm understanding, so when those are 11 homes that were the ship homes, right?
They were with Housing and Community Development.
Yes. So, when those persons, because from what I understand, they already had found those homeowners. So when you found those homes, you gave them a price for the house. And so now it's costing money. We're gonna be finding funding to pay for the part. We're not gonna put the increase back on the home.
No, absolutely not.
I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a purchase and sales agreement with the home buyer. And that includes the cost of the home. And we have a separate construction contract with the builder. The cost to build so far is likely more than what the listing is. But we are not passing that increase onto the buyers.
I don't have any questions.
Madam Chair, just as an update, Phil Mann, interim GCRA manager, I forget what I am. One of the things I've been talking to GCRA staff about is we did this with the infill housing project on Northeast 9th Avenue. And now that we've got some actual construction going, I don't know, Trish, I don't know if you and I specifically spoke about this. I know Mo and Ray and I have. We want to have a groundbreaking and invite the commission and the GCRA board and do got something in the background, got some structure going on, do something with the groundbreaking and try to just promote the program itself and GCRA and everything. So I just thought I would mention that.
Yeah, a date for that?
We don't have a date yet, but we're aiming for July, end of July-ish. But we'll let you all know when we have a date.
You may have mentioned
You may have mentioned in the house.
I did not mention, but under absolutely perfect conditions, they could be done as soon as October, but we're not expecting that. We're thinking probably realistically between December and February.
Long time coming. Long time.
So drive by, it's really impressive.
I have. I remember when we had the first groundbreaking, it was ground. But I'm excited. All right, anybody else, anything?
Announcements?
Wait, I mean on this.
Oh.
No, okay. All right, thank you. Public comment?
Madam Chair, I actually have,
Oh, I'm sorry.
not public, but I actually have one thing I wanted to share with the group. Mr. Diedenbach made me remember what it was, and so you don't have to turn your neck. We talked about the affordable housing, and I know Member Fox and Member Blunt was in the meeting the City Commission just held, and others of you may have been, about the broadband, the money we had allocated for that. In fact, they moved it. Moved it to housing. Now. So one of the things the city manager is working on, I know Chelsea's been involved, and you've been involved, is we hired Corey Harris as the housing strategy manager. You guys probably don't hear him. He's the city housing strategy manager. And what the city commissioner, city manager's office is working on is coordinating all of the housing programs. And I think the project like Mr. Greenbach talked about, so probably want to bring this up. I think you're going to see a much better product coming out of the city, much more coordinated projects, especially between GCRA, housing and community development, and sustainable development. I think for the first time we really sat down and coordinated that effort, and we've got the funding. So I just want to give you all a heads up. That's been on the blocks for a couple of months. Corey's doing a great job working with Chelsea and the whole team. Patricia, did I miss anybody besides the Right? So I didn't want to prolong the meeting, but I thought that was kind of an important thing. I should have mentioned it again.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move for adjournment.
We haven't done a member comment. You gotta, go ahead.
This coming Saturday from 10 to 2 at G-Tech, there will be a expo called Mental Health Care in the Black Community. And so I'd like to invite all of you to attend or tell people or
Member North.
I just wanted to ask, I had asked for, when the consultant was here presenting on the strategic plan last time, I'd asked them to provide examples of downtown management ability.
And they said that they were gonna get something back to us on that.
And so they're coming in for a presentation on August 2nd, is what I understand. So, right, that's them, what's coming in on August 2nd. So, if we can get some information related to that, because that was one of their recommendations. This is downtown authority or whatever they want to call it. So I specifically asked them for what that looked like and some recommendations.
They come in August 2nd or August 19th.
I thought you locked 19.
Nineteenth, their next meeting. August. What? Second meeting is on.
It's been a long year. GCRA will be participating as MOK events by the city. We'll be there from 9 to 12.
All right. Anybody else? Any other announcement? If not, it's moved and adjourned.